The peace speech continues. I know that people have led themselves to believe, yes, Gröning will make me healthy again. Friends, that is not at all possible. A human being can't do this. The person himself, he can do it. The person concerned, the one who has taken in these orders, or who has actually had an accident, has been hit by a car or had an accident somehow. It all comes down to himself. Perhaps some of you will know that when a person has lost a limb or any other part of his body because of an accident, that as long as he did not see it happen, then everything was all right. But if he saw his hand being cut or ripped off, then he fainted. But as long as he was unaware of it, there was nothing the matter. I do not want to say too much today, but I do want to give you a small bit of advice to take with you in order to awaken something within you, to remind you who is actually the one who is to blame. Most of the time you claim to be blameless by saying, yes, he got me worked up, or he said this, that, and so to me. If he hadn't said that to me, then it would not have happened. Yes, but if you had not taken it in, I say, then all would have been well. Excuse me that I use myself as a small example, in that I could not care less about all this rubbish. I know how to answer it, but to answer it in a better way, not via the newspapers, not via the press. I will have all of this written up in a book, so that matters cannot be distorted anymore. Everyone will always be able to read it. People can pass it on. It is permanent. It will get a good hard cover so that it cannot be damaged so easily. After all this, to present the truth, to put everything straight, I must honestly say to you, I am grateful to all those people who have written evil things about Gröning. I give them my heartfelt thanks, believe me. I am certainly not like you, who use offensive language by calling them, oh, those idiots. Please, I do not want to use those kind of words at all. They do not belong here. I will never let myself get worked up, and I avoid with a shake of my head, or perhaps I should say with a shake of my ears, all the stuff that these people give out from themselves. For all I know, they are nothing more than people who tell fairy tales. One could also call them dreamers. You must be more honest with yourself, because what you give out from yourself, you have inside of you. That is your presentation card. So, all of this has not disturbed me in any way. But if the most trivial thing has disturbed you, so that you are therefore leading an unsettled life, so that these disturbances have occurred, yes, friends, you are the only one to blame. Don't be cowardly now and say it's Uncle Otto or Aunt Julia whose fault it is, or whatever else you come up with. No, you yourself, because you were the one who took it in. Beware of it in future. Preserve your peace. Take this little saying to act as your guide. Let peace be holy for humans. Yes, that is very important. Or don't you believe that this is how it works? Look, if someone else was standing here in my place, who instead of giving you the good would give you evil, would you then be sitting here as peacefully as you are now? Would you? Would you be sitting so peacefully? One of the men present answers, no. Bruno continues, you then would be worked up, and you would say, what's this fellow up to? And even if he was to speak softly, it makes no difference, you feel it anyway, just as you have always felt it in your life, whether a person is good, that's to say, whether he has the good in him, or whether he does not have the good in him. That's how it is. But if I were now to go up to people and ask, how are you feeling? How do you feel? What are you feeling? Do you feel unwell? That is not the way it should be. You yourself must ascertain this. Because as I am standing here, I too can certainly ascertain whether you are at peace or not. If any agitation occurs here, yes, one can take that in as well, just as you have done. Only you have paid little attention to this. You didn't have much time. You had something else to do. Everything had to be done as fast as possible. And because of that, so much has happened. But how good it is, dear friends, and how good it would also be for you if you were not angry with anyone who would let you hear evil, see evil, and also feel evil, so that you simply are not angry with him, not with anyone. I know that you hate very easily, and that you also envy people, and also that you very easily get into a quarrel and into a row. If you want to do this to me, then please go right ahead. You can all come and have a go. Do everything you possibly can to try to get me worked up. I just laugh then. Why? Because it just seems so ridiculous to me. I say, you want something, but that what you are trying to do, you cannot achieve. I just won't accept it. But if you really think that you have to let it rip, then go ahead and give me even more. You can say the nastiest words to me. Now I should say about that, as I have already mentioned before, how people are always in a hurry. They are too hasty, and they bring everything to the fore. And I am even delighted. I even feel happy when they release evil from themselves. And then I ask them very calmly, I only hope that you have now released all evil. If you should still have anything more, come out with it. However, only ever give this to Gröning. Only ever give this to Gröning. But this does not get through to you. However, it doesn't matter. I really do not take any of it in. I do not accept it. And he releases it. And when he has done that, and notices that I am not cross with him, he then asks, are you not at all upset by this? No, I say. Now he becomes agitated and says, "But I have already said so much to you." "No," I say, "still not enough. However, I'm just glad, my dear friend or woman, that you have now released the evil from yourself. So how do you feel now?" "Well, I do feel a bit lighter now that I have told you the truth." Then I say, "Oh, so you think that this was the truth?" "Oh, no." "Well, then again, yes, it is also the truth, for you really did have evil inside you, and you needed to get rid of it." I ask you, dear friends, if you have ever been amongst people just as I have been, if you have ever over a period of time absorbed much evil, and then have always said to the people who were close to you, with whom you had just met, you said, when I see him, I will tell that man the truth. That man will get what he deserves. Just you wait and hear what I have to say to him." That is already before the meeting, and it grabs him again and again. Usually it goes like this, that at the moment that he sees the other one, he doesn't know what to say. Now the other person has to provoke him first. And I can provoke very well by saying, "Come on then, come on," or something like that. And then the person lets it all out. But it always does him good, for up to now it's always been the case that all the people who were first regarded as my enemies actually became my friends, because I turned it to the good. I said to them, "Come on, you have something inside you." He was not aware of it at all, and then he released the evil. I know why, I know the reason, and I know the cause of it. Well, wasn't it exactly the same with you? But how often have you also told the truth to several people? Have you told them the truth, so to speak, told them that which you had taken into yourself, that was so much evil? For it is certainly the truth that also you had evil in yourself, and that you sometimes told him this to his face, right? When the other person got worked up now, then that is a sign that he has taken in the evil. Because he became agitated, he could not control himself, and he probably had a go at you. You might even have received some blows. That can happen. But how relieved you have felt when you sometimes have said this to a person. Or how often have you heard it from your next when he said something like that to you, and he then said, "I feel better." Or when he told you, "I really told him the truth. I just let him have it. I said everything to him, and now I feel much better. Now I can eat again, and I have my peace back again." Haven't you noticed all of this? You can amplify everything, both the good and the evil. If you were to hear something right here, if there was someone here who tells you something about one of your next, and you say, "Should I believe this? Is it true?" "Yes, it is true, but please don't tell anyone that I told you." How often has someone said this to you? Dear friends, it really is cowardly when someone says, "Only don't say that I told you." Now your next tells you about it as well, because he has namely passed it on. Say it to him, say it, but don't tell him that I've said it. Someone sneaks around in order to spread this. Therefore you get to hear this 2 or 3 times, and now you get worked up yourself. You can't do anything about it. You are so outraged. What happens next? You become weak, don't you? So that in the end you can't even carry out your profession or do your work properly. What is the point of all this? I am always good-humored, just as I am now, always completely at ease, as I am now. Why only me? Why not you too? Well, isn't that a healthy life, dear friends? Wouldn't it be better for you if you just didn't take in that which is not good, but only take in the good, just as you need it? Just as you have also noticed it when you have heard something good. Suppose that you have been depressed or you were in a bad state. Perhaps you had a toothache or something like that, but in any event, you really weren't good for anything. And then you received some good news. Didn't everything bad just disappear then? Wasn't everything suddenly all gone? Recently a friend, in fact a friend who really was a person of good faith, he was brought up in the church and is still active in it today, a real person of faith. Once a lady came to him and she said to him, "Oh, I have got such a toothache today, such a toothache, so I can't possibly sing." And she started to cry. He said to her, "Calm down, it won't be as bad as all that." Yes, it is that bad. She had gotten into this habit at home. She wanted to be pitied. And she really can't bear it. One time the pain was on this side of her face, the next time it was on the other side. He had calmed her down somewhat, as much as possible. He ignored her more or less, and he said, "What would it be like if, at this very moment, you were to receive the news that you have won 500,000 marks? Would you then still have a toothache?" No, if I were to hear something like that, yes, then everything is gone, absolutely everything. Well, this friend said, that is exactly what you have heard now. So, do you still have toothache then? No? But how is this possible? Does things like this exist? Yes, said that friend, things like this do exist. And they spent a few hours together. In the end, this friend asked, "Well, do you still have a toothache?" No. Well, you said it yourself. Whenever one hears something that's good, then it's gone. You said it and you have also accepted it. What does this mean to you? Well, I know that there are many people who would lose it all at once if they were to experience winning the football pool. I don't know how it is with you. I don't play the pools. I don't want to take part, and I also don't support it. But in Germany one can, at the moment, I believe, win a top prize of 500,000 German marks, right, in the football pool. Well, if you were to win 500,000 German marks now, wouldn't that be good for you? Yes, that would change everything for you, wouldn't it? That is serious business. You perhaps say, "Then I could get away from my relatives. then I just don't want to listen to any of that anymore. But up until now, it was the case. I had to rely on this or that person. I was dependent on him. And through that money you would have become independent. This would have been good. But as long as this is not the case, dear friend, then you think, I can't say certain things yet to him. I don't dare to do that because then I lose quite a lot of things. It's just the same as when an employee were to tell his boss, his employer, the truth. He would then lose his job, wouldn't he? He can't tell him the truth because he depends on him. Naturally, I would say it, whether he likes it or not, because I have always told the truth, and not only now. But in this way, my dear friends, you make yourselves dependent in many respects. But in reality, this is not the case at all. You are dependent on yourself. You depend on your own body, whether it cooperates with you, whether you give it everything it needs, what God has ordained for it. That's what matters, and nothing else. But if you are always miserable and say, oh, I can't do that, I can't, there's this and there's that, how will this and how will that work out? Well, people who don't have worries can always produce some. But producing these worries, dear friends, does not bring you anything good, because you are actually taking in that which is not good and continue to produce that which is not good. In fact, you are increasing it. Please understand me correctly. I ask you, must it always be like this then? Certainly not. Call yourselves to order. Don't you think it would be much, much better if one day I was to come here and you would say, oh, Gröning, I now understand myself. I now understand my body much better. I have really understood it now. The light has finally dawned on me. That's right. Well, then we don't need to talk about it anymore. But one thing I will say to you. Please do not lose it, otherwise you become overconfident, you become arrogant, and then you could easily get hurt again. If one is overconfident when crossing the road, then things can happen very quickly. Always keep your eyes and ears open. Your eyes in order to see, and your ears in order to hear, but do not take in evil, no. To venture into danger, being frightened, no, you really must not do that anymore. It's exactly the same with people when they have realized that in certain situations there is nothing more that can be done. Nothing more that can help. Well, then their courage often fails them. They have no self-confidence, they have no faith anymore, and then they really go downhill. But whenever you hear something truthful, when someone comes along who really tells you the truth, who presents the truth, then things look differently. Then his self-confidence comes back to him, as well as his trust in God. Then so much comes inside of him, and he says, yes, I have realized it now. It was I who was a coward. I've never done all that which was right. I myself have unintentionally given out much evil. I have taken in agitation, and by doing this I have brought other people into danger as well. I have passed this agitation on to them. Although he did not touch my body, he had felt it and said, "Well, something's not right here." Much has happened this way, you see, and it was all unintentional. Please take charge of yourself. Look after your body. Guide your body well, because you already have a driver's license, don't you? But you also need one for your body in order to guide it correctly. He who has not had an accident yet, he doesn't know that. Anyone who has not yet burnt his finger will certainly burn it at some point. Anyone who has not yet burned his tongue will certainly burn it at some point, won't he? And anyone who still has not either taken in evil or passed evil on in some way, well, he has burnt himself as well, because it all comes back to himself again, doesn't it? But anyone who still has not had an experience with evil, still knows nothing about evil, he still feels confident. Until he has had this experience, it's always good that you have already a certain life experiences, that you possess certain life experiences, that you have already tasted enough of that which was not good. Or haven't you? And you did not know what to do, and you tried everything possible. Why trying? Why not do the right thing straight away? Why not be more honest with yourself? Why avoiding your responsibility? Why always handing the responsibility over to others? Why does it have to be like this? To be continued.